Welcome to Mindful Minutes with Musicians, the show where we aspire to inspire musicians and artists talking about mindfulness and what brings us through our practice to achieve greater goals.
Hey everyone, huge thank you for tuning in today and watching this episode of Mindful Minutes with Musicians. And to make sure you don't miss an episode, please subscribe, click on the bell, and leave all your comments below. Today's guest is Sandy Duperval, business manager, music artist, and professional cook with a wide-ranging background in public relations, event planning, project management. I met Sandy at the 519 Green Space, where I was blown away by her DJ skills and incredible voice. Blown away. We, having been trained by Whitney Houston's mom, Sissy Houston, it's no wonder she has a lovely vocal range. She's been DJing all over Canada, as well as Florida, Morocco, Germany, Luxembourg, Switzerland, France, China, Taiwan, Thailand, Dubai, just to name a few places. Throughout her career, she's opened for acts such as Bob Sinclair, Lil Jon, Alternate, Carnage, Travis Scott, Tristan Savalos, Morabito, which I was there that show, which is amazing, Ruby and Rose, and others. She has the honor of being the ambassador of the first Canada Pride in 2017 and Montreal Pride since 2016, and she's toured 30 dates in the US and performed live on television for We Day and the US Open. And now she is here with us today. And so let's talk about her own practice and mindfulness. Huge welcome to Sandy Duperval.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Woo!
so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you just being here and spending the time with me and stuff. And yeah, I guess I'll start off with like, how are you? How have you been?
I'm good. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think the pandemic did that for me where, don't complain because trust, it can always get worse.
Right?
I'm truly grateful. I feel light. I think spending a lot of time reflecting on where I've been and where I want to go and where I am now has been just a healing process. Yeah, really
Yeah.
happy.
Nice. It's like taking that time or being aware to take that time to kind of
Yes, finally. I mean,
yeah.
you're kind of forced into it, but that was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. I know this year's kind of the past year and a bit has been unlike any others, and
Mhm.
everything's been switched to online and stuff like that. How do you feel that like that whole switch to that online world and stuff like that? Did that give you like more creativity or less, or did it stifle that process or?
You know what? At first it was fine. Before they started like doing this whole cracking down on DJs for copyrights,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like, okay, you know what? If this is the platform, we'll use Facebook Live, we'll use all the outlets.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do find it difficult for someone like me because what I appreciate the most of doing what I do is connecting with people. And yes, it's
Yeah.
great. You can chat and there's interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I still, for future, I don't mind hybrid, but I still want to have people in the room with me. I still want to feel like because
Mm-hmm.
I do recharge off of other people and
Mm-hmm.
being able to be in the moment as human beings and connecting together. I think
Yeah.
that's what I cherish the most. So I found it a bit difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but I do appreciate that this happened while we had all these tools, because imagine if this happened back in the
Oh,
90s or back in the 80s when
it'd be
computers were out
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
equation, right?
Yeah.
um and especially for a kid like me who grew up in a poor neighborhood. I mean, I dreamt of having a computer up until I was what I got my first computer. I was 17.
Nice.
And it was kind of like 10-year-old, like, oh my God, I'd like to
Yeah.
get a computer, right? And now we
Yeah.
have all this technology.
Like in our
People don't,
hands.
right, in our hands and,
Yeah.
and within reach. So I'm actually grateful we have that, because I think, I don't know if we would have been, if we would have gone through over a year of being confined, you know?
Oh yeah, no, it would have been super super difficult, especially like, as artists, we definitely, like, you play off of the energy that's
Hmm.
within the crowd and stuff like that. And I know, like, I remember the sets the past few years prior to all this, when we were kind of out there, and that you definitely there you feel that energy. It's not just like
Hmm.
playing music or whatever. Like, there's um that like exchange kind of thing. And I think
Yes.
that was one thing that we definitely were kind of trying to figure out how to recreate that
Yeah.
in this new kind of platform, whether it's chat, or whether it's, you know what I mean, these types of different um, avenues.
Yeah.
But it's still not, it's not the same. Like, even
It's not the same.
us chatting, like, we have some energy, but they're like, I I don't know. I find with little things like eye contact is a huge thing, because, like, for me, where you are, I'm looking there and I'm looking at you in your eyes, but my
Yes.
camera is over here. And
Right, right.
so to be able to have the eye contact is super
It's
weird, you
hard.
know what I mean? It's really
Hmm.
hard. So I think that's another thing that, just to be able to, as you're performing, to like look
Yeah.
out and see someone looking back at you, you know what I mean? That
Right.
this type of
Right.
thing is like that. That's one of the main, I think, attractions that I think we're just looking forward to having that come
Yeah.
back, I think.
Yeah.
But
I feel like, I was DJing for Adidas at a store, and just
mhm,
having people there. Like, it
mhm,
wasn't a major gig, it wasn't a festival gig. It was just so, I felt like a kid at a candy shop for the first time, and I just had a sip of sugar, and I'm just like, oh my God, where's this been in my whole life, right? So
yeah,
it was also a relief, because I felt like, okay, we're getting somewhere, right? So
mhm,
yeah, I'm very thankful for having options, but
mhm,
there's nothing like being on a dance floor with people, or at
yeah.
least at a show, and sitting down and feeling the energy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's funny because, like, with all this, it's been like, it's so increased the amount of inclusion and the amount of people that are able to access these type of
True,
events, which is
true.
amazing on its own. But there's I think that's why, moving forward, these kind of hybrid events are
Hmm.
going to be pretty important to everyone, so that, like, not only do you get that feel of energy and emotion and stuff like that, but someone is able to tap in from that, from
Yeah, yeah.
somewhere, and
Oh
um,
yeah.
still
And I think
experience.
I never saw it that way until I had a workshop with other artists, and someone did mention, people with the accessibility issues,
Mm-hmm.
or uh, perhaps I used to,
Yeah,
when I was really sick at the hospital, it would have been nice to have Twitch, right? To be
yeah,
like,
just
oh
like,
my God, yes, DJ set,
let's party
but
for a bit in
right,
the place that I'm at, kind of thing. Yeah.
exactly. So wherever you are, this truly gives you an experience which you wouldn't have otherwise. So
Yeah.
I am thankful for that. That's why I think hybrid is definitely going to be, hopefully, the major platform where people who are not necessarily able to go to shows are able to get some from home,
Yeah, totally, totally. I'm gonna spin it back to you, and I'm gonna kind of like ask a question about how you got into the style that you DJ, because you kind
Mhm.
of you DJ merging singing and DJing. And so I guess that I guess the question is, like, what was the inspiration for that, or what kind of made you kind of start that, or
They say the best things are unexpected. Um, that was not the original plan. I mean, in fact, DJing was not part of my original plan. I studied jazz music, and I was a gospel singer. So the direction was be a jazz artist. Um, and I felt like the moment that changed my life as a DJ was um, going to a show where David Morales was DJing. And I heard for the first time Most Precious Love from Barbara Tucker.
Okay.
And I'm on this dance floor. It's my first time at an after hour. I'm just looking at people like, okay, what's going on here? And I, at that point, I was
Right.
still a closeted lesbian, right? So, but I, this is, you know, I used to work at this cafe back in the village in Montreal. And my friend was like, let's go to Stereo. There's David Morales. And I'm like, who? Okay. So
Right.
I'm on this dance floor and I hear this super like beautiful, soulful voice, Barbara Tucker just singing Most Precious Love. And this choir comes in and it's just and the dance floor is just whoa. You know, you're like, where am I? I want to stay here forever, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was a hip hop DJ at the time, so it was kind of like I really love this style, and I started doing more research. Then I got booked to do a show in Germany called the Tribute to Soul Legends, and so
Okay.
I'm doing this show as a vocalist, and I go out after, and we there's more house music in these clubs. I'm in Germany and Munich, and it's like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
So I started incorporating a bit more house into my sets.
Okay.
Thankfully, when I started as a resident DJ at Unity in Montreal, I could play pretty much everything. It was an open format Friday night,
bit
college
more
night.
bit more free reign. Yeah.
Yeah. And so in my hip hop sets, I started adding more house music. And then I heard Free from Alternate and I was just like, oh my God, this is it, you know.
Yeah.
But following I did a show in Quebec called Star Academy, which was it's a lot like Canadian Idol,
Yeah.
but in French in Quebec. And it was a difficult experience as a young singer for me, as a young artist who's trying to like find myself. Not only am I still trying to figure out what kind of singer I am or what kind of
Mhm.
artist I want to be, I'm still figuring out myself as a lesbian, but I'm not quite sure.
Mhm.
I had to unlearn to hate myself while also learn to love myself as an artist. So it was kind of
Okay.
like, you know, I just felt fresh everywhere I went. I was just like, oh, what is this? I want that too, you know, like, and then um, my DJ career just kept building and building, but I had stopped singing for a bit. After my show
Mhm.
in Germany and doing some production in France, I took a step back. And so it wasn't until I got booked in 2007, I believe, to do this F1 weekend. So this, which is probably the biggest weekend in the whole year for Montreal. And I'm spinning in front of 40,000 people. And I'm just like,
Amazing.
all right. I mean, DJing is fun, but these people are not stopping. They're just like, oh,
Yeah.
music. Okay, cool. And they're just going about their lives. And those, so at one point, I pick up the mic just to MC, but the song that was playing was Bob Sinclair, Love Generation.
Okay.
And so I start kind of singing. And then I'm like, how's everybody doing? Feel the love generation. And I'm just like, and people stop.
They started
And
paying
I'm
attention. Yeah.
paying attention. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh shit, I have to do the whole song now.
Like, oh, okay, I've
And
gotten myself into this. Yeah.
right. And I don't really know the verses, but I know the chorus. So I'm just gonna do some, you know, gospel-y ad libs on this. And yeah, and then people just stayed and they stared. And now that was the show. And so I had to figure out which song was I was gonna try to sing next. And before I knew it,
Amazing.
a couple hours went by. I sang a couple songs, and people were just like, "Who are you? Where are you coming
Mhm.
from?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I
Yeah.
just found out myself."
It's just amazing. Yeah,
And that was it.
yeah, it's something that I thought was super cool is like it's something that you don't see very often. Like you don't like and I guess that it plays into your skill sets already. Like you know what I mean? You already had that you already have an amazing voice, so it's not like you had
Thank
to
you.
like try to do something. It was like I think that being kind of thinking on the go type of thing is super super cool, and I think that's
Yeah.
a nice
I think if I if had I thought about it beforehand, I would have given myself a heart attack or some anxiety attack because
I bet.
yeah, because you over process. Oh my God, what song am I going to do? How is it going to go? What if people don't respond well? But if you let you just let it flow, you life will
Mm-hmm.
surprise you in the best ways. I mean, it totally changed my life. The best things are unexpected, and that's why I guess even in the thick of tragedy or a pandemic or whatever, I know I trust the process, trust life.
Yeah, no, it's sometimes it's difficult because the analogy I like is that when something is so super close to you, like it's right there, but you can't see
Mm-hmm,
it because you're seeing everything that is beyond that. So like
mm-hmm.
to be able to kind of almost take a breath or a step back, or you know what I mean, to be able to refocus
Right,
on
right.
what is going on. I think sometimes that's um a kind of an analogy to that
But
type of
that's the
thing. But
key.
yeah.
That's the key. I mean, it's hard. I find as an artist, I don't know if you feel the same, but we're very vulnerable in the fact that we use our art to express things we don't necessarily express otherwise. And
Mm-hmm.
so being able to look within is even harder.
Yeah,
So imagine if you can't see something that's in front of your face, it's even harder to see what's inside. And it's
totally.
these moments that take you out of your comfort zone that kind of
Mm-hmm.
make you go like, oh, I can do this. So
Yeah.
I find, now I still have this, oh, I need to plan it, I need to see it. But again, life teaches me in all the best ways that it's within already. I just have to let it flow, and
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
enjoy the process and grow, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was the time that I knew that I found out that I could DJ and sing. I mean, I became better as I went, but
Yeah.
I and I'm still learning a lot because technology keeps just giving you so many different tools.
Ever
I'm like, oh, I'm
changing,
gonna add this and that,
right?
but at the end of the day, the one thing that hasn't changed is singing and DJing are my way of connecting with people, and
Mm-hmm.
my way of them connecting with me, because I can see a reaction, I can see them dance, or I can see them stop. It's like it's a whole body language. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, no, it's and I from what you're saying, it's like something that was already you had already kind of like almost not cultivated, but like it was already within you type of thing. Like
Yeah. I mean, I
the
had been singing, I had been DJing, and then I
mm-hmm.
found out that the type of vocalist I am actually is there are songs, and there is a whole genre and repertoire of music with people
Mm-hmm.
that sing like me, who come from possibly like similar backgrounds. And so
Yeah,
now I felt like, hey, I can
connecting.
belong. Right,
Yeah,
right.
connecting with that as who else is experiencing that gets to be able to connect to that as well.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I do you think like because of the state of everything, do you feel like it's been like more difficult to be creative during all of these times, or do you think that it's kind of allowed you, given you the time or space to be more creative during these times? Like,
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually very grateful. At first I think yeah, I did freak out. After a month I was like, okay, this is getting really um
yeah.
but then I went back to school to do my bachelor's degree in culinary management.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm really grateful because going to school gave me a structure. whatever I do in the kitchen or whatever I do in school, I structured into my production. So not
Mhm.
only did I have time now to create, I had a structure to do it. Um,
Mhm.
and it made me realize how much I was working way too much. I was like,
Right?
I yeah, sometimes I would work Thursday, Friday, do an event in the day, do an event at night, and then do an after hour like
And
right
you keep
after.
going
So I
right after
finish at
that.
the finish at the casino, and then I start do a set from 5 to 9 at an after hour. And so obviously I had no energy and I had no time to be creative.
Right.
And then I felt more and more anxious. The pandemic really made me realize how much I wasn't taking care of myself enough and
Mhm.
taking time to breathe.
Yeah.
Um, it was it was like I said first really hard, but such a blessing in disguise because now I had time not only to feel rested, but to assess myself and ask myself all the questions I didn't, or perhaps I was too busy to
Mhm.
truly ask myself. And
Yeah.
facing, I was forced to face my own demons. You know, like why am I such a workaholic? What am I running from?
Mhm.
And now I could run to me.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
could start my healing process. Um, I was forced to stop to start over better. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I wrote both a French and an English album.
Amazing.
um, I sharpened my production skills. I took a lot of tutorials, but then I took a workshop with a couple amazing producers, young producers, and I bought a guitar and
Nice.
I started taking guitar lessons. So
Awesome.
all that energy I used to pour into, I need to work and I need to
Grow.
do this. I was like, no, I need to grow. Take the
Mhm.
time. Um, I started therapy,
Nice.
which was amazing.
Mhm.
Um, in the middle of that, you know, my relationship didn't end up working out, but my relationship with me became stronger.
Mhm.
And it was kind of bittersweet because you want your relationship with someone else to work so bad that you're self-sacrificing. And
Mm.
then when you have to pick between you and the relationship, you realize that you
You have
need you more.
you have to, yeah. You The thing is, in those types of situations, you can't provide for anyone else if you haven't been able to provide for yourself. Like you can't
No, you
fill
can't pour out
everybody
of an empty cup.
else's cup. Yeah, like
You're right.
it's a very hard and difficult process to go through and figure out and stuff. But I think it's an important one. I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
you know.
I didn't understand, you know, like I know you can't pour out of an empty cup. I didn't know how empty I was.
Mm,
And in order to know, sometimes you really have to like
yeah.
it's not selfish to leave. It's not selfish to say, "Hey, I don't know who I am anymore, so I don't even know what I have to offer."
Yeah.
Um and if I can't be good enough for someone else, it doesn't mean I can't be good to myself. So it really creatively and even as a person, I'm building on solid grounds now.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
no longer distracted and looking for happiness on the outside. I
Hmm.
know I can find it within those four walls just all
Hmm.
right, you know.
Inside, yeah.
um yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a process.
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight. It took over 12 months.
Hmm.
uh but now I've got all these songs. I've got a story to tell. I've
Hmm.
got so much love to give.
Amazing. I actually have a question about like the writing process and stuff like that. What kind of I guess steps or skill or things did you do to get yourself into that writing mode, like, or into that like process of writing the stuff down? Like, what kind of not inspired you, but like, um you know,
Well,
got you to,
that's where,
yeah.
that's a great question, because I realized through my healing process how much I had to say. And so the writing process started with facing how
Outlet.
I felt. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is like, I remember the first song, which hasn't been released yet, but it's a song I just finished. First song I started writing when I came back to Montreal in the fall. It's called Walls. And originally the lyrics were, "You break down my heart." But somehow, no matter how heartbroken I was, I couldn't I couldn't convince myself that that was it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I had this incredible, a very strong feeling of hope.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of despair, I
Yeah,
had a very strong feeling that you're going to be okay. It's
mm-hmm.
not the end, right? And so the first verse, and I'll give you an exclusive because it's not out yet.
Ooh.
It's
That
it's
everybody
like
who's watching is like getting the exclusive right now.
so it's like, I heard everything happens for a reason. Oh, I on the real though. If this is true, then heartache is treason, treason. So I put up these walls to protect my heart. I couldn't take it anymore. Yeah, I put up these walls, confinement, conundrum. Now I'm trapped in them. Yeah. And then,
Woo! That sounds so good.
thank you. And then I was just like, wait, yes, everything happens for a reason. And I don't know why I'm feeling heartbroken, but this hope is telling me, and it's breaking down my walls.
Hmm.
And so the chorus is, you break down my walls, you break down my walls, you break.
Love it. I
You know,
love that.
so it was like it started from a dark space, and
Hmm.
it's resolved into, yeah, but you know what? I still believe. And maybe
Hmm.
the time, it's not the right timing, and maybe this there are lessons I need to take from this, but hope is breaking down my walls.
I love it. Yeah.
So that's one of the processes.
It's, yeah, it's about yeah, finding that outlet, and that is
Yeah.
the ability to kind of let your emotion flow. And
Yes.
I think that's
Allow yourself, or build yourself your own safe space. And
mhm,
that's what it is for us artists, is being able to, maybe people, there isn't a safe space on the outside, and maybe like when I was closeted writing these songs to my uh to a girl I was in love with, it
mhm,
was my safe space, and I was allowing myself to feel. And
mhm,
now I use this again to get through uh situations. And my writing process is just allowing myself to feel and write it on a piece of paper. Or sometimes
mhm,
I don't have lyrics.
mhm,
There's this French song I wrote, and it was about falling in lust at first sight. But in the chorus, I couldn't figure out lyrics,
mhm.
because truthfully, when you fall for someone you don't know, there
It
is nothing
becomes,
really you can't say, right?
yeah.
So when the chorus goes, oh, and that's it. Because sometimes you just can't put lyrics on something, but you can put a
Mhm,
melody.
mhm.
And even as a producer, you can put a beat into it, or you can make people feel a vibe. And that's the beauty of music.
That it's not necessarily the story that's being told, not necessarily is being told through the words, but it's also the intonations and the
Yeah,
levels of music and the,
the
like
vibration,
the
everything.
vibrate. Yeah, yeah, I love that. I okay. So moving into kind of like the similar kind of vibe as that, like how would you get yourself into like a mindful states, like as far as like when you're like writing this stuff, or you know what I mean, is there any times where you're like, you need to like turn off or go away from it, or is it, do you find that this is the, yeah, kind of.
It's I've learned to work with myself. And so growing up, I struggled with ADHD. And for a kid that grew up in the ghetto, or the, the lower income neighborhoods, it was just like I was a troubled kid. But
Hmm.
truthfully, I just couldn't pay attention. um,
Okay.
and music was the only thing where I could spend hours on end, days sometimes, just focused on, whatever it is I wanted to write or sing or practice. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but I do know that the best way to be efficient as a producer, or when you're a creator of any content, is to know when you've poured enough of your creative juice and you don't want to go over that threshold and start changing things and losing the essence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I what I do is I'll start a song and I'll write as much as I can, and if it's the melody, and I'll just focus on the melody. But I'll know when it's time, or if I'm tired, to pull away, and I either
Mm.
I started doing a lot of I love plants, so I just go and take care of my plants.
Yeah.
I repot them. I
Nice.
also love to build things. I love
Nice.
using my hands. I find that, yeah, you're still using your brain, but you're not using the part of your brain that is
Mm-hmm.
really, creating or anything. You just, I feel I have to think a little less.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just do use my hands. I love to read,
Mm-hmm.
which I hated as a kid,
Yeah.
because I just couldn't get
Same here.
through chapter one. I was just like,
Yeah.
right? So I love reading, and I love reading. The key is reading things that I can connect with, or I feel I can learn from. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading Limitless from Jim Quick, which is
Mm-hmm.
an amazing book about one thing that is lacking in our education system is they don't teach us how to learn. And this book is a learning tool to it's teaching you how to learn. And so I've been reading that a lot. So I disconnect and I try to either watch documentaries or read or build things. But it's important to know yourself as a creator, and to know when it's time to, okay, you know, let me stop for a second. I'll get back into it after.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's yeah, super important to know that kind of stuff. Sorry, my camera froze. I'm just gonna.
No problem.
And oh yeah, this is the technology that we're dealing with, right? Is trying to get through all this. Um, but yeah, no, I guess it, just being in that mindful state, or you utilizing not only um the not only the outlet of writing and stuff like that, but being able to go to other things, as
Yes.
far as go, for a walk, or dealing with plants. Like, I think
Yeah.
dealing with plants is amazing, and I think that's a super great just like way to be dealing with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
and knowing that it's you don't have to, you don't have to do your
Yeah, it's for an artist, I find the more obligated you feel, the more constrained and hard it gets to create. I'm not, perhaps in my nature, I really need to feel free. Uh the minute there's a too much of a deadline, to the minute there's too much of limitations, then
mm-hmm,
I kind of disconnect and lose the creative flow, so
mm-hmm,
I really need to, I still have structure, but I still know, okay, it's okay to step away from the computer. Or um one thing I do love doing is
mm-hmm.
going by the water and just writing
Yeah,
whatever I feel, whatever I think,
letting it flow.
and
Yeah,
letting it flow, and then just going blank. I'm just staring at the water
yeah.
or staring at people. um Observing is a really good way to stay creative.
Mm-hmm. And I guess like also knowing that not to force it, like just to
Yeah,
like let that let it come when it comes, and not to like feel like you have to do something, or that you have to write
yeah.
or not, yeah. But yeah, I guess the a good kind of question that we could like end with is
Mhm.
and it's a kind of a larger one, is what is mindfulness to you? Like what would you kind of um say as far as like your take, or how you would would explain mindfulness kind of.
I believe mindfulness is, to me, it feels like a chain where you stay in tune within, and also you stay aware of what's around you. So I find nowadays, because we're so distracted and there's so much happening, and we're so much news, and I guess um technology clutter,
Mm-hmm.
um that mindfulness is being able to say to yourself, how am I doing? Am I okay? And then assessing, once you know you're okay, is assessing what's going on around you, and is
Mm-hmm.
being able to know what kind of energy you keep around, what kind of energy you are to others. um, and that takes experience. I believe it takes time. It takes going through, sometimes I know I'm not, my energy isn't going to be okay around other people, and so I stay at home by myself, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay too.
Yeah.
There is no right or wrong way. It's just staying mindful
Mm-hmm.
of these things around you. And I do believe, as human beings with nature, and everything on this earth is energy driven.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
mindfulness is being able to know your energy and what energies you have around you, and staying connected. And
Mm-hmm.
when you can't find a way, it's okay to go and find and look for tools that allow you to stay connected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like and connected not only with everything that's around, but also connected with yourself.
Inside. Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
like self check-ins and
Yes. And
um
and
yeah.
you can't be, like you said, you can't pour out of an empty cup. You can't be good to other people if you don't even know how you feel. You can't
Mm-hmm.
fake that.
Yeah.
um I think it's important to stay aware, and know, it's okay to take a break. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to take a step back, and as an artist, yes, I do sometimes have to be at the front, but there's nothing I enjoy more than being either in the kitchen or in the studio by myself, right?
Right.
Um, because then I feel like I'm building something that I can proudly show to people, or I can offer to other people. I take the
Mm-hmm.
time to fill my cup, and then I can
And
pour
then
it
to
into
go
other
out to
people.
offer that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I like that a lot. That's a nice place to end. I'm just going to play the outro music, and again, I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of hang out with
It's
us
my
today.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to Mindful Minutes with Musicians. For more information about my guest and the topics of the show, go to blackmoremedia.ca and connect with us on all social media platforms. Welcome to the MMWM family, where we aspire to inspire. See you soon.
Amazing. Thank you again, Sandy, for joining us. I really, really appreciate this, and This I think there's been some really great take homes, and
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate this.
Yay.